Hey, I'm Tyler with Bikerumor, and this is the Friday yard sale video where we spill our thoughts on the week's tech news, all in the time it takes to drink a pint of beer.
You spill your thoughts. I just kind of sit there and look around and occasionally say
stare
something.
In your face.
Yeah.
All right, what are you drinking today, Watts?
I am drinking a Dale's Pale Ale.
The usual.
Yeah. We always have it on tap. It's just one of my favorite, just all-around beers.
That's a constant? You guys always have that on?
I'd say, pretty much, except when it's out. Yeah.
All right, I'm drinking a Green Man Brewing Porter, which is delicious. I'm not normally a fan of porters, but this one's pretty smooth. Good on a cold day like today, where we were outside playing in the snow with the kids and sledding. And then prior to that, you went on a fat bike ride.
I did. Yeah, we have the one fat bike at the shop that it's usually a different, like, it rotates. Like, we have one, then we sell it, and then we get another one in, and we get to use it twice a year.
What's the blue one? The blue one, though, was that the ice cream truck or something?
Yeah, ice cream truck. Which I've had for a while now, and actually I'm really liking that. I think that's mine.
Yeah. I was going to say, that one's been here for a while.
Yeah.
So it's officially yours.
But if somebody wants it, I will sell it.
Lightly used twice a year for the past 4 or 5 years. Nice. All right. Yeah, normally fat biking thing is the domain of Zach as far as Bikerumor coverage goes, but while we're sitting in the snow in perfect fat bike weather, he's in Hawaii on vacation, enjoying himself. Yeah, I know, but once he gets back, it's like non-stop bike trips for a while, so he's keeping everybody at the house
Sounds
happy.
Harsh.
Yeah, rough life for him. But, so I got my cheat sheet as usual. The big news for the week, tech news, was of course SRAM DUB, and they introduced what they're not really calling a standard, but a standard killer with a all-new crankset system and bottom bracket system. And it gave them the chance to really optimize their bottom bracket for a single production piece, right? Like, you've got different spindle widths for fat bikes and stuff, but now they can make one crankset basically that will fit all normal bikes. And so far it's for mountain only, of course, but what they've done then to make that work is come up with 4 different bottom brackets. So between them they'll fit BB30, PressFit 30, PressFit 86, and standard threaded BSA. So now, if you go from one type of bike to the next, you can just take your crankset, move it, and just get a new bottom bracket, and it'll work. So it simplifies things a little bit. I'm sure it simplifies the SKU count for them.
Right.
It also let them, by optimizing it, let them really create something super light. So the XX1 Eagle crankset is now the what they're calling the lightest on the market. We haven't done a full weigh-in rundown, but it's like 420 grams with a 32-tooth chainring, like crazy light. And then by the time you add in the bottom bracket, it's right at or just under 500 grams, which is pretty crazy light. So, and then behind that,
if you say so. I don't know these things.
It's super light. I do. That's always trying to shave grams off the bike. Love it. So that was and that one not only was it the biggest news of the week, but also had by far the most comments of anything we've posted in a little while, like 60-something comments last time I looked. And for something that's technically a new standard, the comments were surprisingly positive, or just like, okay, this is interesting, and not the usual rant and hatred and stuff. Which
I don't know. I've never seen a comment like that. Go.
If you notice the camera angle changing slightly, it's because we're having technical difficulties. So
I'm not.
We've talked about some of this stuff already. It's just that the camera turned off. So real quick, we're going to do this in snippets and restart the camera. So the wheels this week that we've talked about were 2. There were some from Revolve, which is a startup, and they're folding wheels. So it's crazy. There's an animated GIF on there. There's video on there. GIF.
We talked about that, and y'all missed it. It was
all
hilarious.
the good jokes were already spent. There's no going back to that. You can't recreate good comedy a second time around, ever.
Especially not on this amazing podcast.
Yeah.
For which I apologize.
But it's worth checking out. It's a commuter bike concept that instead of the bike folding up to get smaller, the wheels actually kind of collapse on themselves, and there's video in there that shows how it works, and it's pretty sweet. And then the other cool thing for wheels is Industry 9 launched their new
Aero
carbon disc brake only wheel set that is actually really intended mainly for road. They said, yeah, you could ride it on gravel or cross, but the design is really for road because they have other carbon road ready wheels that will handle the rougher stuff better. These are really focused on aerodynamics and speed, and it's the first time that they've done their own carbon molds and layups and everything for a rim. for the road anyway. Before that, they've done shared molds with some big brands that make really, really good rims, but they wanted something that was really designed specifically for their needs, you know, crosswind stability, comfort, which was a big thing in what they're talking about. So the shape of it allows it to give a little bit. It's really wide, so you can get really wide tires on there, which is kind of crazy. They say you can actually run from a 23 mil to a 40 millimeter tire on the same rim, and so that's a huge thing. So it's kind of like pick and choose based on what'll fit for one, but then also like what you need for that day. It's kind of neat. Except that I wouldn't want to be setting out road tubeless again and again on a whim just because I felt like I could need to go from a 23 to a 28. But I'm also not really running a 23 anymore ever. It's kind
Is
of
anyone?
I don't know.
I'm glad that's gone away.
What do you guys sell for road tires?
Oh yeah, sorry, I heard that.
Noises.
Yeah, we sell 23 still, but only on like just cheap stuff.
But they're coming on bike or just cheap tires. Like somebody comes in, they need to replace them. They don't want to spend $80 for like a premium.
Like Conti Ultra Sport.
Something cheap. What are those? Like 20, 30 bucks?
Yeah, $20.
Right.
Basically.
All day long.
All day long. Oh my god.
Cheap tires. Right.
Yeah. No, but otherwise.
Did you take my cheat sheet?
No. We already talked about that, and we also mentioned already the Industry 9 guys in the wind tunnel.
Oh yeah. Check out Industry 9's Instagram. Apparently, there's some funny photos of them.
I mean, I think there was one. But anyway, they were having fun, and I liked seeing it.
So they did take their wheels to the wind tunnel, which is good. Yeah. Who knows what they were doing in there? But
what that proves, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. They had some nice charts and graphs. They were comparing them pretty favorably, actually, or at least like equivalent to the industry standard of all aero wheel tests, which is the Zip 303 and the Zip 404. So they've got a lot of charts and graphs somewhere hidden on their website. I'm not sure if that was meant for our eyes only or for like the general public and stuff, but they had a lot of charts and graphs showing all kinds of different things. It is, except I don't know. It's a lot of charts and graphs. If that's fascinating, they're out there somewhere.
Bikerumor readership.
Where's my cheat sheet? Ah, there it is. I left it up here. I'm going to restart the camera. So another quick restart. I'm sorry. Are you bored?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Gabby Sheldon just threw a rock onto a pond. Andrea from Iowa's
Instagram stories. Her trainer. Lost you that quickly. All I had to do was restart the camera.
It's what we do, right?
I don't
know.
Like,
there's latent time.
I intentionally try not to. I feel like that's one of the biggest things we've lost is the ability to be bored, which is really like when the mind processes stuff. But, unless you're looking at Bikerumor's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, which is at Bikerumor on all three.
Which I now have access to.
Yes. You mentioned Dirty Kanza when we were talking before the camera. What's up with Dirty Kanza?
Well, so the lottery just came through. I got my mug. The lottery just came through, whatever the fuck that even means.
Did you win the lottery?
I won the lottery. And they're doing this new thing where it's like my phone's ringing. A new 350-mile kind of challenge thing. It was invite only, and a lot of people didn't get the invite, which I think, rubbed some people the wrong way.
Because you said there's only 34 people invited.
Yeah, which I think was a throwback to the original Dirty Kanza. 34 people, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that are like, I've done that race a million times, and you let those fuckers do this?
Because I really wanted to go ride in potentially terrible muddy conditions for not 200 miles, 340 miles.
Yes,
I don't get it.
I'm definitely not a part of the Midwest nepotism, so I did get into the lottery though, which I guarantee has nothing to do with anything except for dumb luck.
So how many people try and get into the regular Dirty Kanza? Because that's 200 miles, right?
Mm-hmm. Was it like 1,000 people or something?
I don't know. And then how many race? How many do they let in?
I don't know.
Something less than 1,000, apparently.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think one year it was 1,000 people signed up, like 400 finished. Because the conditions were so bad.
Was that last year? Because last year was pretty horrific, wasn't it?
Ago. So we were just talking about things that have happened in the week, and you were talking about
Yeah, we can talk about
components, and I don't. I'm not a techie person.
All right. Oh well. All right, back to components and stuff.
No.
You know, we did mention, so I just, you know, if you're a fan of the podcast that I do, the build cycle. So last week we posted the Ask a Stupid Question about the Sufferfest, where you guys all got to write in and ask questions of them. So this week I actually interviewed the founder, David McQuillan, for my podcast about how he started his company. And it's an interesting story about, you know, where the idea came from. And he was actually kind of just pirating some race footage and making videos for his friends to use on the trainer because he hated like the old Carmichael and Spinnerville VHS and DVDs so much. He just couldn't stand to do them, but he really needed something to do indoors because he was living somewhere where, you know, there's months where you just can't really ride well outdoors and stuff. And so he's been able to grow that totally self-funded, which is really impressive in this day and age, to build like this global training platform of a streaming app and UCI licensed footage.
Especially from pirated footage.
Yeah.
Good for you, bud.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So if you're interested in how he did that, check out Bikerumor and finally just search Sufferfest and you'll find a link to the podcast episode, and it's a really cool story. It's actually one of my longer podcasts. It's about an hour and a half, which is kind of pushing, I think, people's attention spans, including my own.
I think this pushes people's attention spans.
Absolutely.
It's like the two most awkward people. I'm not saying anything about you. It's more about me. On camera, talking
About stuff.
in our
Maybe we need to
own
splice in.
bizarre
I'm going to
voices.
splice in like some random stuff. Yeah. All right, you got to go, man.
I gotta
So,
go.
Chug.
Bye, y'all. I'm done.
Have a good weekend.
That just took forever. Sorry, man.
You guys had a lot to chat